What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down how wide receivers can run unstoppable routes. So I hope this video helps you guys out. I hope it can teach you a few new things. And also, fellas, if you're a wide receiver and you would like to train with myself this offseason, I'm going to be traveling out to 15 different states across the country for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver training camps. Next up, next month, we'll be coming out to San Francisco. That camp is completely sold out. But then we'll be coming out to Orlando, New Orleans, Charlotte, Dallas, the DMV, St. Louis, Honolulu, Boston, Cleveland, Austin, Seattle, Newark, Denver, and Los Angeles, California. So if you guys are local to one of those cities, would like to train with us, check out that very first link in the description below. We'd love to have members from our YouTube community at some of our camps. They usually are the guys who perform the best. So let's get started with this video. So now, first things first here, we're going to be talking about how wide receivers can eliminate wasted steps at the top of their route. So that's one of the key things to running an unstoppable route is getting rid of wasted steps, but more importantly, wasted time. It's all about eliminating wasted movement. So we're looking at this route. It's called a return route here from Brandon Aiyuk. So what's a return route? A return route is kind of like the opposite of a whip. I know it might look like a whip, but just know that the quarterback is to the inside on this, but he's breaking to the out and then whipping back to the inside. So let's play this full speed. So he does a great job of getting out of this break in 2 steps. So these little details is what makes it very, very hard to guard people, right? Like obviously when he breaks to the out, he's going to know to sell the route. That's pretty basic advice, right? You got to sell the first part of a double move. You have to run the out route first. So he's got to go with some speed. He's got to commit his hips and his shoulders to the route. But the hardest part when you're selling double moves is being able to get in and out of the break quickly with no wasted steps. A lot of guys can sell double moves, but when they break down, they take all of these extra steps because they're moving with a lot of speed. And those extra steps, especially when going against talented DBs, talented safeties, that gives them time to drive on the ball. So what we have to do is little details like hooking my foot around on a whip route. So like, let's see, for example, here, like on a return route, he's breaking with the left foot. So you're snapping down, you're dropping your hips on the left foot. If this would be a whip route, it would be his right foot because he would be breaking towards the quarterback. So when he snaps on that left foot, watch what he does. He gets low with that. He's dropping his butt down. He's bringing his chin to his knee. He's in a position where he could come to bounce. Now, what gets rid of the extra steps, because plenty of people can get low, but still get stuck at their break point. He hooks his outside foot around. He snaps and he hooks. So when you can hook, and you turn your hips and your shoulders parallel to that line of scrimmage, whether that's on a whip route, whether that's on a return route, whether that's on maybe like a post, like into an out route type deal, and you hook around, getting a positive shin angle where your shins are at a 45 degree, you could drive off of that cut. That can get you out of the break and get you separation without wasting steps and wasting time. Now, again, why is this stuff important? Because a lot of wide receivers, what they'll do is they'll snap down and they don't hook this leg around with some power. They'll try to hook the leg around, but their body's already getting out of the break, foot gets outside their frame, and they slip. A lot of guys, what they'll do is they'll snap down and they try to hook this leg around, but they pop their pad level up, and then they take choppy steps. That is what will get you locked up and will make your routes not unguardable, fellas. You have to eliminate those little details matter. You have to understand that, especially if you're not the fastest guy in the world. Those little details make a difference between you getting open and you not getting open against a talented and fast DB. So let's play this again, full speed one more time. Great job by Aiyuk selling the out route and then being able to eliminate extra steps by using that snap hook method that you would want to use on a whip route, return route, whatever you're running. Okay, so now, second example here. This is going to be a route from Darnell Mooney, and then we're going to look at a route from Justin Jefferson. But one of the ways to be unguardable, run unstoppable routes is to have explosive cuts. Now, this is a bad example of that. This is not the greatest route, and it gives the DB time to recover. Most of the time, fellas, as wide receiver, DBs are at the disadvantage. From the snap of the ball, a DB is at a disadvantage because he doesn't know what we are doing. We know where we are going, so we're already at the advantage. It's about giving him extra time, extra space, whatever it might be, in order to react to us and recover. We never want a DB to recover. So making explosive cuts is a way to do that. So look at Darnell Mooney here. He does this like kind of rocker step cut, but his feet get outside of his frame. Now, granted, the ball was a little late, but DB was still right on his hip. Even if that ball's on time, especially on an out route, that is a very, very tough completion for that quarterback because we gave him time to react. So how did he do that? When he did this rocker step, I want you to pay attention to how wide his feet get outside of his frame. So fellas, when you're making cuts and your feet get this far outside of your frame, you cannot drive off of this. Think of it like this, like a quarterback. if you're a quarterback, and I know some of you receivers are thinking, how's this apply? If you're a quarterback and you're trying to throw the ball far, do you think you want to stand with your feet super wide outside like this? No, because you're not going to have any power from your legs. Being a quarterback, you get all your power from your legs. Like maybe like a baseball player, he's trying to hit a home run. Do you think he wants to stand like that? No, you want to keep your feet underneath your shoulders because that will help you get some power. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, coach, don't you always talk about stepping outside of the DB's frame, trying to get him to move and actually sell the movement? Yes, I do. But when I do say step outside the frame, I also mean you want to bring your hip and you want to bring your upper body with the cut. You want to bring it with the foot. So what Mooney does here is you see how his first step is wide. He can't really push off of it because it's outside his frame. Second step is wide. We can't drive off of that. And that also puts a lot of pressure on your knee. So watch where his next step is, because in theory, when he makes this cut, this next step should be already out on the out route. Look what his left foot does. He says left foot steps negative and it goes this way. That's extra wasted time at the break point. Then he crosses over with his feet, and that step is the step. He takes an extra 2 steps when he should have not had that if he would have brought his hips and shoulders with the move. And that is how we give DBs time to recover. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, what, 2 steps? That's not a big deal. Trust me, fellas, when you play a disciplined DB, that 100% is a big deal. Let's think about it in more simple terms. Like, let's say we're up at the top, and like, let's say we're this wide receiver, and he's trying to run a slant, and he does like a diamond release, but he reaches on the last step of his diamond release and then he takes a couple extra steps. That DB can open up his hips and drive on the slant. It's about staying inside your frame and cutting underneath your shoulders. So let's watch this full speed and then we'll break down Justin Jefferson doing it correctly and watching his steps out of the break. So Justin Jefferson's doing the same type of move. He's doing this rocker step cut, gets the DB to bite. You see he's got a lot of explosion out of the break. So let's talk about it. So he does first step here, and you see how the first step, compare that to Mooney's first step. Mooney's was outside of his frame, kind of leaning back. Jefferson's is inside of his frame. It's an explosive step because now he can push off of this. And when this is inside your frame and you could push, guess what? You can bring your hips and you can bring your upper body with the next cut. So now you see how his next cut is also inside of his frame. It starts with the first movement. So anytime you guys are throwing that crossover, that first step has to be inside your frame. It's got to be sudden. It's got to be inside your frame, and you have to push off of that cut to throw you into the second move, but allow you to bring the upper body. And when you can bring the upper body, this cut has some explosion. Look where his next step is. His next step is already out on the 90 degree. It took Darnell Mooney 2 steps to get there. It took Jefferson 1 step. So cutting out that wasted time does not allow this DB to react, and we just have to rely on the quarterback to throw it on time and not behind. But that is separation. Last example, that DB was right on his hip, and it was the same type of coverage, same type of scenario. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by Jefferson having the correct technique on this rocker step, being able to sell with the upper half, and keeping his feet inside his frame. Okay, so now, next thing in order to be able to run unstoppable routes, we're looking at Sky Moore here at the bottom of the screen, is you got to be able to react. So we talk a lot about as wide receivers, you got to have a plan, right? Like, so you come up to the line, DB comes out, like, let's say, for example, he's inside leverage. DB's inside leverage, I got to have a plan, okay? I got to attack his leverage. I'm taking the outside release. That's my plan. But if the DB takes it away, or maybe he comes out in a look where I'm not quite sure what he's trying to do. Because when he's inside shade or outside shade, that's a dead giveaway. But if I'm not sure, I have to be able to do some kind of a release that reacts off of him, right? And so Sky Moore does a great example of that. He's running like this like sail route. If you guys want to think of it like a 10 to 12 yard out route, okay? Or like a flat or a corner, if you will. So he comes off the ball. We got a DB in head up press. So when he's in head up press, we're not quite sure what he's trying to take away, right? If he's a yard or two to the inside, we know he's trying to force me to the outside. If he's a yard or two to the outside, he's trying to force me inside to his safety help. But when he's head up, we don't exactly know. So I might come out with a release where I could react off of him. So play at full speed. So Sky Moore does something called a split release to be able to react. Now, a split release is a great release to use for that scenario because you could go either way. So a split is where you take your front foot. It's kind of like a hesitation release. You take your front foot and go out. You bring your back foot up even with your front foot. You split. Because now when I split my feet, you come to a position of balance. Both cleats are in the grass. You're in a low pad level position. If this DB were to jump to the inside, inside. Okay, cool. I could take the outside release. DB keeps a little bit of an outside shade here when he does this split. Okay, cool. I take the inside release. Swap the hands. Now I'm off. And my goal is to restack. You could restack on an outside release, or you could restack on an inside release. You just have to make sure that we are able to react and we have a plan at the top of the route to get me open, not so much off the line. Yes, you want to plan off the line. You want to have an idea of what you're doing, but your separation happens up here, not off the line, because a DB, again, like we talked about, can recover and they work on their recovery speeds. So we have to be able to react. Now, does it have to be in this scenario? Because that's general advice, right? If I just say, oh, as a receiver, you got to be able to react. Like, yeah, that's pretty obvious. What if he's 5 yards off and he's head up? What do you do then? You would want to go at him, gather some info, and see how he's going to play it. Like, let's say the DB's 5 yards off here. I would go at him. If he starts shading to the inside, cool. Take the outside release, get skinny, and let's go run the route. If he's 5 yards off, I go at him. He shades to the outside. Cool. Take the inside release. I'm pushing vertical. If I can't stack and the DB's here, I slip underneath and throw by. You just have to have a plan, and you got to be able to react. Have a plan, be able to react, and be able to execute. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by Sky Moore showcasing the split release and how you guys can use that to react on a DB. All right, fellas, really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. Always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys as usual. And again, if you would like to train with us in 15 different states this year, our San Francisco camp is sold out, but every other camp still has spots available. So check out that very first link in the description below, fellas. I'll see you guys next time.